What would you do if a long-lost family secret could change everything you thought you knew about love and family? The late morning sun spilled golden light through the towering windows of the suburban elementary school, casting warm rectangles across the linoleum floor, innocent, bright, and untouched by the heavy cloud gathering in Anna's chest. Around her, the laughter of children played beneath the soft rustle of autumn leaves pressed against glass, muted and distant as a world that no longer felt kind. She stood just beyond the doorway, her hands gripping the strap of her worn canvas bag tightly, knuckles whitening beneath the comforting weight. A cozy, worn sweater hugged her slight frame, one she'd chosen for its softness, its promise of comfort, but its fibers could not guard against the sharp edges of this day. Through the frosted glass, she saw them, her ex-husband, laughing easily, his arm draped around his new partner, a woman seemingly crafted from every social aspiration Anna lacked. Her presence was like a sharp edge biting through the warm hue of the morning, a living, breathing contrast of everything Anna feared and resented. Her breath hitched as her eyes caught her daughter's small face pressed against the glass, wide with innocent joy and untainted affection. The warmth that flooded her heart twisted cruelly, a guttural ache that sprung from her deepest fears of rejection, of invisibility in her child's life. Jessica's sharp, mocking voice slashed through the air like a cruel undertow, the words catching Anna before she could prepare. "Look, there she is, the divorcee, still trying to play mom. Do you really think she belongs here?" Heads turned. Whispers rippled through the gathering crowd, a wave that swept over Anna like freezing water. She could feel the weight of their judgment, each glance a pinhole burning into her skin. Her tired eyes darted downward, the sharp sting of humiliation stealing what faint smile had sought refuge on her lips. Suddenly, Jessica's laughter exploded again, clear, piercing, merciless. Together, the circle of school parents and teachers shared a cold complicity, a frozen tableau where Anna was cast forever as the outsider. "Maybe it's time you accepted your new place," Jessica's voice taunted near her ear, a serpent's hiss wrapped in sugar. "Your daughter has a new life and new family." Anna's heart hammered fiercely, the rhythms pounding both fury and despair. She swallowed, the words trapped as bile clawing up her throat. She wanted to speak, to declare her love, to remind them all that bonds weren't so easily broken, that motherhood was a flame that endured beyond fractured families. But the voice fell silent, strangled by years of doubt and insecurities that now felt inevitable. Deep breath. A soft, almost reluctant step forward, bridging the chasm between rejection and hope. Her daughter's innocent smile reached her, a fragile beacon amid the storm, and for a moment, the cold dissolves. Anna's eyes flicked upward, catching dust motes swirling softly in the light, a gentle reminder of the past, the quiet resilience hidden beneath years of neglect and pain. The battered, dusty picture frame tucked under her arm seemed suddenly heavier, a symbol of secrets yet to unfold, and the possibility that love, still, might flicker anew. The camera zoomed in slowly on Anna's hands clutching the frame, her gaze merging past the crowd, into a horizon not yet revealed, a future uncertain, but quietly hers to claim. The world paused. The laughter faded. The afternoon sun softened, bathing Anna in a warm glow that neither she nor the viewer could quite yet understand, a subtle promise hanging in the air as the scene faded gently into a pregnant silence. Anna's car idled silently at the curb, the soft hum of the engine blending with the distant rustling of autumn leaves outside. Inside, the cabin was dim, swathed in the fading light of a coming evening, shadows pooling in the corners as if mirroring the turmoil within her. Her fingers toyed absent-mindedly with the edge of the dusty picture frame resting on the passenger seat, a relic from another life, both fragile and weighted with years of unresolved heartache. Her eyes, tired and opaque with quiet suffering, stared fixedly out the window. The mundane rhythm of passing streetlights offered no comfort, only underscored the distance between the life she lived and the life she longed to reclaim. Outside, the falling leaves whispered stories of endings and beginnings, their colors faded like the hope that hung heavy on Anna's chest. Inside her, A tempest raged anger at the humiliation she'd felt at her daughter's school, the sting sharper because it was laced with helplessness. Yet beneath that anger swirled darker currents, shadows of self-doubt gnawing at the edges of her spirit. Was she enough? Had years of sacrifice and unspoken pain simply been invisible? A breath, drawn slow and deep, trembled in her lungs. The hesitation on her lips spoke volumes, a silent dialogue with the ghosts of hope and regret tangled deep within her. Memories flickered, laughter echoing through sunlit fields at the old summer cottage, the tender clasp of her mother's hand, a forgotten gold locket lying half-buried beneath old photographs. Her gaze slid downward to the frame beside Hearth glass, dusty, the edges chipped. It held no picture now, but it was heavy with the stories she'd yet to uncover, secrets long lying dormant. That frame, once a container of preserved memories, now felt like a barrier, an opaque veil between the past she feared and the future she dared not imagine. Anna's knuckles whitened as she gripped the frame tighter, her breath quickening as a raw, almost primal urge surged, the need to reclaim, to understand, to fight the shadows that threatened to consume her. Her lips parted in a whisper only the night could catch, maybe this is not the end. The sound of the wind outside shifted, stirring the brittle leaves in a melancholy dance, as if the world itself conspired to spark a change long overdue. The sulfur glow of the street lamp flickered, casting warm light that softened the harsh lines around Anna's eyes, revealing a crack, a fissure where strength might seep through. Her face, caught between resignation and resolve, lifted slowly. The silence was suddenly broken by the faintest sound inside the frame, a soft rustling, like a secret calling to be heard. Anna's eyes locked onto it, hope threading through the weary fabric of her soul. There in the dim light, the dusty frame was no longer a tomb but a doorway. The night held its breath as Anna reached carefully behind it, fingers trembling yet determined, to pull free the first hint of a secret that could illuminate the shadowed corridors of her past. The camera drew in close on her hands as they uncovered a folded note, edges yellowed, ink faint, a whisper from the past with the promise of revelations to come, and a chance to redefine the story left unwritten. Outside, the wind raised its voice in a haunting, hopeful melody as the scene faded, leaving Anna poised on the brink between despair and discovery, her journey just beginning. The late afternoon sun cast a golden filigree of light through the half-open curtains, pooling gently on the hardwood floor like liquid warmth. Anna stood motionless in the quiet of her modest living room, surrounded by the soft hum of distant neighborhood life, though to her it felt removed, suspended between two worlds, the one she had lost and the one she had yet to reclaim. Her eyes traced the outline of the dusty picture frame she had just pulled from an old box tucked away in the corner, its glass dimmed with age and neglect. Her fingers trembled as she dusted off the mottled surface, the weight of unspoken stories settling around her like a heavy mist. The frame had no photograph inside, only the barren emptiness that tugged at something deep within her. A void echoed in the wilted bouquet of flowers fading quietly on the windowsill, their petals curled and brown, like the joy that once blossomed here and now seemed forever lost. A faint breeze stirred the curtains, brushing softly against Anna's cheek, as though the past itself whispered on the wind. She inhaled deeply, the scent of old wood and fading lavender mingling with memories, summer afternoons at the lake house, laughter spilling freely, the golden light of early evening wrapped around her family like a protective cloak. Those moments felt distant, shrouded in sepia tones, yet their warmth still shimmered beneath the cool veneer of her present reality. Anna's breath hitched as her gaze dropped to the back of the frame, where a yellowed envelope was taped securely. With fingers rougher than she remembered, she peeled it free and unfolded a letter penned in delicate script, their mother's handwriting. The words were fragile and hesitant, yet imbued with a love that whispered beneath the weight of years and silence. Her eyes moved across the lines, absorbing tangled hints of secrets kept too long, of sacrifices made in shadows to protect a fragile truth. The letter spoke of family ties stretched thin, of missed chances and hopes kindled beneath the weight of unspoken pain. Somewhere in those fading sentences lay the key to something greater than the fractured fragments of her life. A soft, almost imperceptible smile curved her lips, the first flicker of light in a room long darkened by doubt. The dusty frame, the forgotten flowers, the weight of childhood summers, they were no longer merely relics but fragments of a puzzle she was finally ready to piece together. Her tired eyes reflected a sudden flame of determination, the hesitant hope blossoming beneath years of weariness and guilt. For the first time, Anna felt the stirring of a strength she thought had been lost, fragile, yes, but fierce and undeniable. The camera lingered on the letter crumpled softly in her hand, the edges catching the sun in golden glints. Outside, a robin alighted on the windowsill, its chirp melodic and clear, a small herald of new beginnings. Anna turned slowly to the window, breathing in the quiet promise of the evening air. The distant laughter of children, the rhythm of life continuing beyond pain and loss, wove itself into the stillness. In this silent moment, the space between past and future, she stood poised on the edge of transformation. The picture frame, once a symbol of neglect, was now a vessel of possibility. The letter, a fragile bridge between memory and truth, beckoned her forward. The scene faded on Anna's face, lifted toward the fading light, eyes bright with the spark of rediscovery, a subtle yet powerful promise that her journey, though uncertain and fraught, was finally beginning anew. Evening shadows crept across the faded wallpaper of Anna's small living room as she sat curled on the aged velvet couch, the dim light from a nearby lamp casting a halo around the opened letters strewn across the coffee table. Outside, soft rain pattered against the windowpane, mingling with the rustling of brittle leaves crumpling beneath the quiet autumn wind. The atmosphere held a tension, the stillness before a storm, reflective yet charged. Anna traced her fingertips lightly over the worn pages, each fold and crease a testament to their weight. Her mother's handwriting wove through her mind like an elusive melody, words of hope, veiled warnings, and fragmented truths, fragments of a past she had only begun to unravel. The dusty scent of old paper mingled with the faint aroma of rain, creating a sensory bridge between memory and the present. Her gaze lifted momentarily toward the untouched photo frame resting against the shelf, a silent sentinel to secrets locked away for too long. Anna's breath hitched. The frame's vacant glass seemed to mirror the void carved inside her, yet within it lay the promise of revelation. She folded the latest letter carefully, a slight tremor in her hands betraying the swirl of emotions, the tentative optimism that flickered like a candle flame shadowed by doubt. The note spoke of a family connection once obscured, whispered rumors of relatives she never met, and a chance for renewed ties. Yet entwined with possibility was the fear that truth might unravel fragile bonds already stretched thin. Thunder murmured softly in the distance, a suggestion of impending confrontation, as Anna wrapped herself tighter in the cozy sweater that had become her armor against the cold beyond the window and the colder fragments within herself. In the quiet, her thoughts raced, tussling with the ghosts of guilt and the yearning for belonging. Her phone vibrated lightly, a message blinking, an unknown sender offering a mere hint. The past holds answers, but be wary what darkness you unleash. Anna's eyes narrowed, the flame of resolve kindling amid shadows. She hesitated not long before responding with a simple, determined reply. I'm ready. Outside, the rain intensified, drumming a syncopated rhythm against the roof, a symphony of struggle and renewal, as if nature itself breathed life into her awakening. The camera pulled away slowly, framing Anna alone in the warm glow amid encroaching twilight, the letters before her a map through uncharted territory, raw, uncertain, and charged with the potential for redemption. The scene lingered on the muted gleam of the gold locket nestled quietly within the opened letters, a symbol forgotten but not lost, waiting to be rediscovered, a key to unlock the tangled threads of love and identity that bound her. And then, a faint knock echoed softly at the door, tentative yet purposeful, an invitation to the unknown, a beckoning toward truths she could no longer avoid. The screen faded into silence. The narrative poised on a whisper. What would she find beyond the threshold? Twilight settled over the suburban streets with a delicate hush, shadows pooling beneath the skeletal branches of bare trees as the evening chill began to set in. Anna's car wound its way through familiar roads, the engine's steady hum a quiet companion to the turmoil in her mind. In the solitude of the cabin, her fingers absent-mindedly traced the edges of the letters laid before her, letters brimming with cautious hope tangled with uneasy truths. Her mother's handwriting wove through the pages like secret melodies, but with every word, the distance between past and present deepened. The fragile optimism born just days ago now faced tests harsher than anticipated. A single revelation had bubbled to the surface, like a jagged stone beneath placid water, a lie about her mother's past, an untruth that threatened to unravel the fragile threads she was desperately stitching together. Anna's gaze wandered to the dusty picture frame leaning against the table, its empty glass reflecting the dim light, a silent witness to stories she was only beginning to grasp. The warmth of the fading day contrasted with the cold ache seeping into her bones. The picture frame, once a symbol of memory, now felt heavy with the weight of secrets and concealed pain. The phone buzzed a message from an unknown number, ghost-like and cautious. "Not everything is as it seems. Trust sparingly, especially those closest." A shiver rippled alongside a growing resolve. Anna's breath caught, her heart pounding not just from fear but from a determined spark kindling amidst the shadows. Days blurred into a montage of uneasy confrontations. A tense exchange with the ex-husband's new partner at a local cafe, their words spiked with thinly veiled manipulations. Hushed conversations with distant relatives who hinted at family wounds refused to heal, and silent moments alone in her favorite summer cottage, where laughter and sunshine seemed trapped behind a foggy veil of sorrow. Each step forward was met with resistance, both external and internal. Self-doubt whispered venomous warnings, guilt speared her conscience, yet beneath it all, the pulse of renewal tethered her to the fight. One evening, bathed in the soft sepia glow of the cottage's fireplace, Anna unfolded a second letter found tucked behind a loose floorboard. The brittle paper crackled softly as she read, every word a revelation, every sentence a summons to confront the shadows lurking at the edges of her family's history. "You have missed a reunion, one that could have altered everything," the letter intoned, a haunting echo that shook her to her core. The camera lingered on her face, the flickering firelight casting long, wavering shadows that played across the subtle shifts of pain, anger, and fragile hope. Outside, rain tapped rhythmically against the window panes, as if time itself wept for the chances lost and questions unanswered. Anna's fist clenched around the letter, knuckles white against its fragile surface, the weight of her choices pressing down like the gathering storm. The scene closed with a gradual pan away from the glowing fireplace toward the night sky, where clouds passed slowly over a crescent moon. The celestial light strained through the dark veil, a sober reminder that clarity often comes only after darkness is embraced. And beneath that pale moonlight, Anna's whispered vow broke the stillness: "I will uncover the truth, no matter the cost." The lingering suspense hung palpably. A cinematic breath held a cliffhanger that poised her story on the edge of revelation and confrontation, the uncertain threshold of transformation. The chill of early evening wrapped the town in a somber veil, the pale light seeping through swollen clouds cast long, uncertain shadows across the quiet streets. Inside Anna's modest kitchen, the amber glow of a solitary lamp struggled against the creeping darkness, illuminating the cluttered table where the aged letters lay scattered, fragile fragments of a past that had long been shrouded in silence. Anna's eyes, weary yet aching with resolve, hovered over a folded piece of paper she had only just unfolded, its edges brittle with time and longing. The handwriting was unmistakable, her mother's script, delicate but determined, carving out a painful truth that demanded reckoning. The letter spoke of a family reunion, an event kept secret, missed a pivotal moment that could have redefined the course of her life. Her breath caught, a swift intake of air that echoed through the small room like the unraveling of fragile threads. The reality settled on her shoulders like a heavy cloak, the realization that history, entwined with deception and love, had spun a web that had ensnared her in silence and isolation. The cost of missed chances became unyielding, relentless. In the dimness, the dusty picture frame she'd carried through the house leaned against the wall, its cracked glass catching the lamp's flicker like a wounded eye. The frame, empty yet brimming with unspoken memory, symbolized the fractured remnants of a family fractured by secrecy and time. The wilted bouquet on the windowsill, forgotten for days, drooped further as shadows stretched, the petals a silent elegy to hope lost but not extinguished. Anna's fingers clutched the letter tightly, knuckles white, as a tremor of grief and fierce awakening coursed through her. The stillness of the room held its breath as she whispered, nearly inaudible, "Why was I left out? What did they fear I would see?" The answer lay tangled in the roots of unspoken fears of scandal, of pain, of truths too fragile for daylight where love and guilt intertwined in a tangled thicket. Anna's gaze fell to the forgotten gold locket tucked beneath the stack of letters, a token of hidden love, a tangible echo of a story left half-told. Memories flooded sun-drenched days at the old summer cottage, the laughter of children mingling with the scent of pine and lake water, the warm weight of a mother's embrace before shadows fell. The past no longer felt distant. It pivoted sharply into the present, demanding acknowledgement. Her resolve crystallized amid the swirl of sorrow and revelation. The journey before her was now undeniably clear, to unearth the secrets buried beneath years of silence, to confront the echoes of hurt, and to seek the fragile possibility of healing and reconciliation. Steeling herself, Anna gathered the letters and the letter with hands steadier than moments before, her eyes brighter with newfound purpose. The worn picture frame became a vessel of promise rather than neglect, the locket a beacon guiding her forward through the darkness. The evening deepened as the camera drew back, capturing the solitary figure illuminated by the lamp's glow amid encroaching shadows, a woman on the verge of transformation, caught between the weight of the past and the tentative hope of renewal. Outside, the first stars blinked hesitantly through the shifting clouds, silent witnesses to a secret long buried, now stirring to life, altering everything once thought immutable. The scene faded softly, leaving a lingering stillness, a breath held in suspense, an invitation to follow Anna through the unfolding chapters of rediscovery, love, and redemption. The wind outside moaned a mournful dirge as rain began to cascade relentlessly against the windowpane, its rhythm a cruel echo to the turmoil within Anna's heart. She perched on the edge of the faded armchair, which creaked softly beneath the weight she no longer wished to carry. The room around her, cast in flickering shadows from a solitary candle struggling against the darkness, seemed to shrink, walls closing in, suffocating, mirroring the grip of despair clutching at her spirit. The dusty picture frame lay discarded on the cracked wooden floor, the glass fractured like the fragile remnants of her past. Memories she sought to grasp slipped like smoke through trembling fingers, intangible and distant. The golden locket, once a symbol of concealed love and forgotten promises, had become cold, a relic of hope long wilting like the wilted flowers that drooped mournfully in a vase on the nearby table, brown petals curling inward as though recoiling from the weight of an unspoken loss. Her eyes, rimmed red and weary from restless nights, stared into the dimness. Each breath was shallow, a fragile pulse beneath the heavy silence that held no answers, only the ghostly echoes of missed chances and fractured family ties. The letter she had found, now creased and faded, rested unopened beside her, its promise of reunion and reconciliation tainted by the ruthless revelation of time lost and opportunities forever past. The storm outside intensified, thunder rolling across the sky and distant rumbles as lightning briefly illuminated the room in stark, white light, sharp and unforgiving, much like the avalanche crashing upon her soul. "It's all gone," she murmured, voice brittle, swallowed by the thick gloom. "The chances. The forgiveness." No reply returned, only the intimate hum of rain pelting the roof, a lament in the vast emptiness of this fractured sanctuary. Anna's hands trembled as she clasped the forgotten locket, the cool metal biting against her skin, a visceral reminder of love hidden yet not extinguished. The tightness in her chest grew constrictive, stealing the warmth from her body, and in the low light, her reflection in the cracked mirror fractured into a mosaic of sorrow and fading hope. Time seemed to unravel here, dragging minutes into endless hours of solitude and regret. In this void, The narrative eyes upon her were unseen but vast, the weight of unspoken truths pressing down, merciless and inevitable. She was a woman undone by the stark revelations of her own making and inherited pain, each thread of love and identity fraying under the relentless strain. The final image lingered Anna alone in the dim-lit room, framed by the ghostly flicker of the candle flame, her form a silhouette of vulnerability and endurance. The storm outside raged on, the thunderclaps a grim soundtrack to the unraveling of all that she held dear. In this profound stillness, the camera drew away slowly, the scene fading into a sorrowful quietude, the beginning of descent into the depths where only the rawest truths awaited, a crucible from which hope might one day be reborn. The old house was swallowed by night, the weak glow of a solitary street lamp struggling to pierce the oppressive darkness that lay both outside and within. Inside, Anna sat alone in a cracked leather armchair, the fabric worn thin beneath her weary weight. The air was chilly, carrying scents of damp wood and forgotten memories, intertwining with the stale aroma of wilted lilies resting on a nearby table, their once vibrant petals now dry and brittle, crumbling slowly into dust. Her eyes, redrimmed and hollow, stared aimlessly ahead, fixed on the dusty picture frame leaning against the wall, its glass reflecting the dim light as if holding back secrets too painful to confront. The frame was empty, a hollow doorway into the past and a constant reminder of what remained unseen and unresolved in her heart. Outside, the wind howled mournfully, rattling the window panes and causing shadows to flicker like restless spirits. Each creak of settling wood bore down like a heavy sigh, underscoring the engulfing silence that consumed the rooms, and reverberated inside her like the echo of lost chances. A faint, haunting melody drifted through the dark spaces, the distant call of a night bird or perhaps a memory, fleeting and elusive as Anna's lips parted ever so slightly, releasing a breath thick with sorrow. "Is there peace for me?" The words fell like fragile glass, shattered almost immediately by the great void that answered in silence. Her fingers traced the contours of a forgotten gold locket, lying cold and neglected upon the side table. The locket, once a symbol of hidden love and hope, now felt like a relic of a life irretrievably slipping away. Its surface was dulled, its clasp tenuous, mirroring the fragile hold she felt on her own selfhood. The fractured light of a flickering candle stretched spectral fingers across the room, casting shifting shadows that enshrouded the hollow spaces where laughter and joy had once thrived. Anna's breath-shed ribcage rose and fell in a rhythm that seemed to synchronize with the slow drip of water echoing somewhere unseen, a rhythmic reminder of time's cruel passage and chance lost. Her gaze lowered to the wilted flowers once fresh from happier days, their delicate stems broken, petals curled inward, symbolizing hope faded yet not entirely extinguished. The room felt vast, cavernous, a prison forged from regret and loneliness. Time itself seemed to distort, stretching moments into infinity. The candle's flame sputtered, almost extinguished, and Anna's closed eyes captured the weight of despair, a quiet surrender to the overwhelming gravity of loss. And then, as the flicker dimmed to a near darkness, a solitary tear traced a path down her cheek, a radiant yet solitary beacon of pain and fragile humanity within the engulfing void. The camera pulled back slowly, the room dissolving into the shroud of night, leaving only a fragile silhouette against the fading glow, poised at the brink of surrender, held in silence, on the cusp of a journey neither fully given up nor embraced. The flickering candle extinguished, plunging the room into enveloping darkness, the final image lingering on the vacant picture frame a silent testament to a heart suspended in quiet anguish. The heavy gray skies lingered outside Anna's window, a monochrome canopy casting the room in muted, indistinct shadows. She sat on the worn floorboards of the attic, the air thick with dust and quiet memories, each particle catching the fading light like tiny fragments of forgotten time. Around her, the remnants of a life both loved and lost were scattered faded photographs, unfinished quilts, and the ever-present dusty picture frame leaning against the wall. It carried the weight of years, a silent sentinel guarding secrets yet to be fully understood. Her fingers absent-mindedly traced the edges of a gold locket, long forgotten but suddenly pulsing faintly with the gravity of hidden love. It felt cold in her palm, yet beneath the surface lay an unheard heartbeat, a lingering promise from the past. The locket was like a whispered connection to a mother's quiet strength, a tether to the love that persisted beneath the layers of betrayal and pain. A single, weathered letter lay unfolded beside her, its delicate script fragile yet eloquent in the glow of the lone attic bulb. The words, penned by her mother, spoke of forgiveness and understanding, themes that now seemed both distant and vital. The letter was a bridge to healing, an unspoken invitation to let go and embrace truth unfiltered by hurt or regret. Anna's breath was shallow, trembling as memories flooded through her montage of sun-dappled summers at the lake cottage, golden afternoons heavy with love and laughter, the warm embrace of family bonds once thought broken forever. Those moments shimmered as ghosts in the shadowy room, fragile flames flickering amidst the darkness. She closed her eyes, the silence intimate and profound, broken only by the faint creak of the wooden beams settling, a soft rhythm that intertwined with her ragged heartbeat. The pain was raw, but within it flickered a fragile seed of hope, a subtle recognition that even in despair, renewal was possible. A gentle breeze stirred the curtains, carrying with it the scent of rain and wildflowers, faint but unmistakably a whisper of spring amid winter's grasp. It was a small, tender reminder that life folded in cycles, that wilted blossoms could bloom anew, and lost love could find its reflection in quiet moments of peace. Her lips parted softly as a single word escaped, a quiet vow to herself and the shadows, begin. The camera lingered on her open palms, cupping the locket and letter as if holding fragile light, before slowly pulling back to frame her silhouette beneath the vast, muted skyzone image suspended between past and future, burden and hope. The scene faded on the delicate flicker of the gold locket, now resting gently atop the dusty picture frame, a symbol of reconciliation awaiting her touch, poised on the cusp of transformation and the promise of new beginnings. The sunlight seeped softly through the cracks of the summer house, gilding the worn wooden floors and casting a tender glow over the quiet space where memories seemed to linger in every corner. Anna sat on the edge of the porch, clutching the letter penned by her mother, feeling the fragile warmth of words that had waited long for recognition. The air was thick with the scent of blooming jasmine, a faint breeze whispering stories of forgiveness and renewal. Her eyes, clouded yet softly luminous, traced the delicate strokes of her mother's handwriting, each word a bridge across the chasm of years and silence. The letter was an offering, a testament to love, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bond of family that time and betrayal had tried to obscure. In that moment, Anna's heart clenched with a mixture of grief and hope, the past bleeding into the present like a painting slowly revealing its true colors. The warm hues of late afternoon danced in her eyes, reflecting a dawning awareness that healing was a process, lingering, tender, yet undeniably real. The broken fences of confusion and pain still lay in the landscape of her mind, but now, they shimmered with a new light like the first beams of dawn piercing through a night of despair. Her hands, trembling slightly but determined, cradled the letter close to her chest as she inhaled the sweet, fragrant air. Memories of her childhood summers bubbled to the surface. Her mother's gentle laughter, the glint of the gold locket hidden beneath her collar, and the joyous laughter shared in this very space, long ago. Those moments, once lost to shadows, now flickered like embers, warm and alive. A deep breath steadied her racing pulse, a quiet acknowledgement that the journey toward forgiveness and understanding was only beginning. Heavy with the weight of regret yet shining with the promise of renewal, she finally allowed herself a hesitant smile. It was small, fragile, but real, a testament to resilience. The faint glow of the setting sun cast a golden halo around her, blurring the boundaries between past and future, pain and hope. Her gaze lingered on the horizon, where the sky erupted in soft oranges and pinks, a canvas of possibility beckoning her onward. The landscape of her heart opened slowly, a delicate flower unfurling in the warmth of her newfound resolve. She rose slowly, the silence wrapping around her like a sacred energy, a pause before the next chapter. The porch light flickered softly, casting shadows that danced like whispers, as if the house itself acknowledged this quiet revolution happening within her soul. The scene drew outward, capturing her silhouette against the dawn-brushed sky, a figure renewed and ready to carry the torch of Hippian image etched in cinematic eternity, a testament that even in residual shadows, the promise of dawn was always stirring. The summer house was quiet but alive, bathed in the golden hues of late afternoon as shadows stretched long across the wooden porch. Anna stood at the edge, gazing at the horizon, her breath steady yet filled with a newfound resolve. The air was thick with the scent of pine and fading blooms, memories of a childhood filled with laughter and love that somehow still lingered, like ghosts softly whispering in the breeze. She slowly unbuttoned her coat, revealing her simple but elegant scarf, a gift from her Mothera relic of strength and grace. Her hands trembled slightly but carried a quiet confidence now. The journey through grief, doubt, and betrayal had carved her into a woman who no longer hesitated before embracing her truth. Across her mind, images unfolded. The bitter confrontations, the hidden truths uncovered, the secrets whispered in hushed tones, and finally, that letter penned by her mother, a final message of love, forgiveness, and legacy. Anna's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, not of despair but of awakening. As the soft rustle of leaves merged with the gentle hum of the gathering evening, Anna stepped forward, the flickering light catching her face, a luminous testament to resilience. Her shoulders straightened, drawing strength from the roots of her family and the stories that wove her into a tapestry of hope. She moved toward the old, weathered table where a small, moss-covered stone rested, an emblem of what had been buried beneath pain but was now rising with unyielding force. Her fingers brushed against it, feeling the cool earth beneath as if anchoring her renewed purpose. Next, she reached into her pocket, pulling out the worn envelope with her mother's handwriting, a key to the past and a bridge to her future. Carefully, she unfolded it, the paper whispering secrets of a love long protected, of sacrifices made in silence. Her gaze drifted over the words, absorbing every sentence with reverence and determination. "Your strength lies in your truth," the letter read, and Anna's lips pressed into a soft, resolute smile. She understood that her journey was far from over, that the healing of old wounds required patience, courage, and a willingness to confront her fears. With a deep, steadying breath, Anna closed her eyes briefly, feeling the warmth of the sunset seep into her spirit. In that silence, a subtle shift occurred, a spark igniting her resolve into a blazing torch, illuminating the path forward with quiet power. The camera lingered on her silhouette against the fading light, a figure reborn, an emblem of hope. The landscape around her, lush and forgiving, symbolized the promise of renewal, an invitation to embrace love, forgiveness, and the legacy of her ancestors. As she turned slowly, her gaze held the horizon, knowing that her true strength now emanated from within, the unbreakable bond of family, love, and the courage to be her authentic self, shining undiminished amidst the twilight's embrace. The golden glow of sunset seeped through the open window of the summer house, casting a radiant halo that seemed to breathe life into every creaking corner. Anna stood at the threshold of the porch, her figure bathed in the warm light, a silhouette of newfound clarity and serenity. In her hand, she held the crumpled, weathered letter penned by her mother, the words now glowing with unshakable truth and measured hope. Her eyes, tired yet luminous, reflected a peace forged in fire, a quiet triumph over the shadows that had haunted her for years. The once looming specters of betrayal, doubt, and regret now shimmered softly in the background, diminished by the luminous core of her inner rebirth. The sprawling landscape behind her was alive, trees whispering secrets, flowers blooming anew, echoing the transformation unfolding within. Anna's breath was steady, each inhale a prayer of acceptance, each exhale a shedding of her grief and guilt. Her shoulders, once bowed under the weight of familial silence, now carried her with gentle strength, a quiet declaration that she was finally embracing her true self, her story, her legacy. She stepped onto the porch, the cool wood under her feet grounding her in the present. With a delicate hand, She reached toward the hanging frame, the one that once held a faded family photo, now replaced with a new, vibrant image of her children smiling beneath the expansive sky. The act was gentle, reverent, each movement a reaffirmation of hope, a farewell to the fractured past. The camera pulled back gradually, capturing her silhouette against the oppressive yet promising sunset light spilling from her figure like dawn breaking through the night. Her gaze lifted toward the heavens, a silent offering of gratitude and purpose. Her eyes shimmered with tears of relief and certain culmination of a journey through darkness into the promise of dawn. In this celestial moment, time seemed to stand still, the universe holding its breath as she made her silent vow to move forward, to nurture love, to forgive, to heal. The landscape, now bathed in a tapestry of gold and rose, became a living emblem of her resilient spirit, a testament to the power of hope and the unbreakable bond of family. Her breath echoed softly in the stillness, a gentle exhale that carried the promise of peace, new beginnings, and a future reclaimed. The scene faded with her standing steadfast, a luminous figure rooted in hope, the horizon bright and infinite before her, a cinematic ode to transformation, a gentle but enduring promise that even in darkness, light would always persist. Soft light filtered through the large window, casting a gentle glow across the modest living room where Anna sat quietly, a cup of tea cradled in her hands. The space was filled with a quiet reverence, a testament to the journey she had taken, a process of mourning, discovery, and eventual peace. On the table before her was the familiar dusty picture frame, now holding a new photograph, a candid snapshot of her and her children, beaming with unspoken love, the innocence of their shared smiles a mirror to the hope she had rebuilt. Her eyes, once tired and clouded with doubt, now shimmered with a calm resilience. The streaks of tears from days past had dried, replaced by a light that shone from within, a recognition that her past pain was part of her story, but no longer the defining chapter. The faded flowers beside her wilted once with despair had bloomed anew in the sanctuary of her resolve, symbolizing the renewal she had fought so hard to nurture. In her hands was a letter penned by her mother, the ink still fresh and vibrant, bearing words that radiated wisdom and love, final words that offered closure and understanding. Anna's heart fluttered with a bittersweet smile as she read the lines once more, each sentence a gentle reminder that all the sacrifices, all the pain, had led her here to a place of acceptance, peace, and purpose. She leaned back slowly, a breath flowing out like a calming tide, sinking into the realization that her journey was not about erasing the past but gently embracing it, letting it shape her with compassion and understanding. That her family's legacy was woven into her very being, a tapestry of resilience, love, and hope. Her fingers brushed lightly over the frame, feeling the warm presence of her loved ones, their spirits woven into every fiber of her being. The room radiated a soft glow, warm hues filling every corner, echoing the dawn of a new chapter. Outside, the world continued in quiet harmony, the birds singing softly, the rustling leaves whispering stories of renewal. For the first time, Anna saw herself not through the lens of loss, but through the power of love's enduring force. In this serenity, she finally understood that peace was not a distant end but a gentle unfolding, a slow awakening to her true self, unburdened and free. The camera lingered on her peaceful face as she closed her eyes briefly, a silent prayer of gratitude slipping quietly into the universe. The scene faded with the sunlight bathing her in a golden embrace, a cinematic tableau of hope, forgiveness, and the promise of a future built on the roots of love and resiliency, a visual testament to the profound journey of healing and the everlasting strength of a mother's love. The morning light spilled softly through the open window, casting a warm glow across the small room where Anna sat at the polished wooden table. Her hands gently held a delicate, newly framed photograph of her and her children, smiling with unspoken promise. The photograph was vibrant, a stark contrast to the faded, sepia-toned memories of days long past, a testament to the healing she had begun. Her gaze lingered on the faces, eyes bright and unburdened, the love unmistakable. The shadows that had haunted her, the shame, the regret like heavy chains now loosened faded into the sidelines of her consciousness. In their place blossomed a gentle understanding. Her journey was about forgiveness not just for others, but for herself. The room felt alive with the quiet hum of hope, the air thick with new dreams waiting to unfurl. Outside, the world had begun its slow awakening, yet within her, time had paused, holding a sacred space for reflection and renewal. The dusty picture frame, once a relic of unresolved past, now gleamed with a subtle luster, holding a new picture, one that embodied peace, strength, and a promise of endless possibilities. She drew a deep breath, the kind that settles the soul, and traced her fingers softly over the contours of the frame. Her eyes closed briefly, immersing herself in the silencia, sacred silence where old wounds had been tenderly healed. Deep within, a realization bloomed. Her past was no longer a cage but a cradle for growth, love, and hope. A gentle smile curved her lips, fragile yet genuine, a symbol of her transformation. Her posture straightened, shoulders unburdened, her heart finally aligned with her spirit. Her journey from despair to hope had been arduous, yet every tear, every moment of doubt had sculpted her into a vessel of resilience. The camera pulled back gradually, framing her against the rising sun, a visual testament to the dawn of a new beginning. The scene lingered on her serene face, a portrait of grace and fulfillment. The light grew brighter, enveloping her in a luminous embracing eternal pause on a moment of profound peace. The world outside continued unaware of this quiet triumph, but within her, a symphony of hope played on, serene, beautiful, unstoppable. The final image dissolved into a tableau of the family, the love, the legacy, an everlasting testament to the power of forgiveness and the promise of renewal, etched forever in cinematic eternity. The dawn broke softly over the horizon, streaks of muted gold and blush sweeping across the sky, whispering promises of renewal. Anna stood silently on her porch, the early light bathing her figure in a gentle glow. The new family photo, vibrant, alive, and full of hope, was carefully placed in the framed space where the old, faded picture once hung. Her hands trembled softly as she hung the frame with a delicate reverence, a quiet act of healing and reclamation. Behind her, the landscape stretched wide, lush trees, blooming flowers, and the distant song of morning birds, an emblem of life's persistent renewal. It was as if nature itself celebrated her evolution, from shadows of doubt to the dawn of peace. Her eyes, reflecting the calm of the moment, held a peaceful certainty, a recognition that she had reclaimed her story, woven it anew from the threads of pain and hope. Inhaling deeply, Anna felt a profound stillness settle within her, a silent acknowledgement that her journey, marked by betrayals, discoveries, and sacrifices, had led her to the verge of a new beginning. She lingered in that tranquil space, letting the warmth of the sun seep into her spirit, the quiet hush of the morning echoing her newfound acceptance. The camera slowly pulled away, capturing her silhouette against the expansive sky, an enduring testament to resilience and peace. In her posture, there was unspoken strength. In her smile, a gentle grace. The landscape shimmered softly, bathed in the golden light of dawn, symbolizing hope, love, and the quiet harmony of a life redeemed. A single bird soared across the wide canvas of blue, its wings catching the sun's tender rays, a cinematic metaphor for freedom and the limitless horizon ahead. The scene faded into silence, a cinematic pause that lingered on her serene face, an image of tranquility in unyielding hope, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. Have you ever found something unexpected at home? Share your surprise discovery below.